Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. But it's not winter anymore, Jeff.
No, winter came.
And it is.
Get it?
Yeah. We're here. April 20th, everybody. We're getting ready for the European part of WCS Spring Qualifiers. I'm Nathanius, joined by In Control. And we got a lot of StarCraft coming your way for the next couple of weekends. So buckle up. WCS Spring, the StarCraft season never ends. It's really just actually just a lot of StarCraft. We had a good amount of stuff in between. Winter. We've got we
GSL Super Tournaments right now.
GSL Super Tournaments happening right now. There's some great games. Hopefully I'll be able to catch up on some of them in between our matches here too. But yeah, it's a whole new season. Of course, this is more familiar with our Challenger format that we were running last year. So for the way that this is going to work, it's going to be the group stages, feeding into a playoff bracket, Jeff, and playing for some seeding in WCS Spring, as well as some money in WCS points, but very straightforward. We had a bunch of qualifiers about a week ago. We got 16 players in the group stage, and you guys can see it out there. You know what's up. There's the money at stake. The money at stake.
The money at stake.
And
some points for WCS.
You can buy some stakes with that money, if you know what I'm talking about.
Not too many, though.
Not too many.
Actually, you can buy a lot.
But for a guy like Serral, those points are going to help wrap you up your position for the playoffs later this year.
Wow, you're making fun for not winning.
Important.
WCS winner, huh?
What? Yeah.
Jeez
exactly.
Louise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fear Dragon, I'm sorry, buddy. Wherever you are. So we've got, of course, we're starting.
What if he is dead?
No, goodness. Well, going to winning sometimes can feel like that.
Okay.
But we've got our Group A. I think today's group for the Europeans, guys, probably really excited, of course, to see Serral play, who was not able to win WCS Winter. This is going to be a hot button issue as we look at guys like Raynor coming down the line. But we've got Serral and Nerchio to kick things off. Then we're going to have a Laser versus Harstem. So if you like ZvZ, you came to the right group. You know, you're going to get a good helping this morning.
Or PvZ.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think it's mostly Protoss for the American group later today.
I hope so.
You'll get a lot of Zerg, get a lot of Protoss, everything that you need. And yeah, we're going to get the game together. Get ready to rock into it. How have you been since WCS Winter in Control?
Good.
Good?
Yeah. I can't complain. It's been nice. A lot of StarCraft.
Yeah.
Seeing some of this Gumio mech, some of this Maru mech, even though he lost that series.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
Weird builds being cooked up
in
Korea at the moment that we were talking about. And the awesome GSL results as well. Just the finals of that season, watching a legend be made.
Yeah, when that player won.
Yeah.
You know, just the way they did
it. When the player won.
It was such an exciting event for me.
I'm traumatized.
And then the other player that lost was also very good. Yeah.
So, yeah. But the guy who lost really put a good effort in. You know what I'm saying?
They showed the best games to their fans, I feel.
And that's really all that matters.
It is.
Make sure we're
at the end of the day.
Beer up here. So we're just going to get into the lobby. That's pretty much all we're figuring out right now. And we'll kick the first series off at ZvZ. I mean, Serral, I think, is going to continue to be a subject throughout the year because he's still very good. He still performed well. But has he dropped off? Is it Raynor that perhaps has made too much of a growth? Or what do you think? Has Raynor improved that much since we saw him play last year?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's an interesting format, that WCS Winter, because we only saw Raynor for that one series.
Right.
Played very well. It obviously went down to the wire as well, so the result is what we end up talking about. But a couple of small decisions later, and it's just Serral winning again, and then we get back onto that storyline. So I don't look at it too much. It's more the overall year, because we are in, you know, we're deep into the 4th month of the year. We're a quarter of the way through, so or a third of the way through, excuse me. That'd be awesome if we had 16 months. But Serral has not been dominating like he did last year. And I think that's the StarCraft thing, that not to excuse it, but it is so hard to remain on top. And that's why last year was such a big deal. He did it for nearly an entire year. But he's still hovering around that. And I think this group is a pretty good get back on your horse. This is kind of...
It's like a calibration.
If you just had a bad breakup, this is the get back up there.
It's the rebound group.
It is. It's the rebound group. Because Nerchio, very good ZvZ. We see him here, handsome devil. But Serral is on a different level. Then you got Harstem and you got a Laser. And these are all players that are very, very good. But still, do they crack the Serral?
They should be players that he can beat if he is as good as, you know, we believe him to
if
be.
he is the chosen one.
Yeah, if he's the chosen one. It could be possible this is just a new arc where we're retconning some stuff for Raynor, but we will find out. It's the first match of WCS Spring in the Northwest position. we have the red Zerg player. He is Nerchio.
Artur Block. One of the longest standing pro gamers in StarCraft 2. Love that guy. He's been around forever. Top right-hand side, the Blue Zerg. From Finland, home of death metal band Chimera. It is Serral.
Nice.
And also Nightwish.
Nice.
You know that? You ever listen to Nightwish?
Nope, never heard of him. Sorry, only know the Night King, Jeff.
Well, yeah, as you should.
Yeah. Good times. So you got the ZvZ to start things off. I think the most interesting part about the way that WCS Winter ended is that coming into this, we do not, or at least for me, I don't expect Serral to just cruise his way to first place like he did in every challenger last year.
Right.
I think a lot of people are holding out now. Like we've got a solid number of people that were in like this Camp Serral have kind of shifted over to Camp Rainer. And now we've got 2 players that are pushing everybody else in the European region up in terms of just the difficulty that you get trying to compete with these guys.
Yeah. I'm also glad for this reset for some other players too. We've got some pretty insane numbers, and you know, it's funny that we talk this much about it. I still hear it happening, but it is legitimate. The latter in particular. So Thermal is actually trashing it. He was at 7,200 MMR. I don't know if he's pushed beyond that since then, but he's just killing it right now. And is actually, there's the Euthermy Cup going on this weekend as well, which is really cool. It's a local thing that he does in the Netherlands for players there. There's quite a few good ones. He's just become, you know, a little bit more of a awesome figure in the scene. But anyways, I'm excited for some of these players that in WCS Winter, they bounced out a little bit early. The timing of it was kind of weird. It was kind of like first thing of the year. It got stretched out, all that stuff. But now, this is WCS Spring. This is like, this is legitimate. You got to go. You got to get it showing. We'll see what you look like.
We're going to be, like we were talking about, the online portion of this before we go to Kiev for the actual WCS Spring offline portion. We got this weekend, next weekend, and the next weekend.
Yeah.
So you guys don't got to worry. The next couple of weeks, we've got you covered with StarCraft action all Saturday, all Sunday.
And we know there's a lot of Fear Dragon fans, too, that are really upset. They're like, why is this In Control clown here? Where is Ravi? Ravi couldn't make it this weekend. He was at a wedding, or is at a wedding, but he will be back at least for several of those weekends, 2 or something like that.
The king will return. So far, nothing crazy has happened here, right? We had a pretty quick third base out of Nerchio.
Yeah, three hatch before pool is pretty weird.
Yeah. So I guess that's his way of just trying to compensate for the fact that he probably doesn't feel like he wants to try to play Serral's game against Serral.
It's just funny because, yeah, you might be right. It just might throw him off. But look at the numbers, right? Like, drone count, Serral favored. Army supply, Serral favored. Like, it's all even. They're even on equal bases. There was no clear advantage to doing 3 hatch before pool. But if you tell someone that you got away with 3 hatches before pool, you think it's just like outrageous, huge advantage economic opening.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of not.
It's like, you went command center first? It's like, well, it doesn't really...
It's queens that ruin it, too. It's the inject.
Yeah. That as well. Slowing down the spawning pool, slowing down the injects. Everything else seems pretty similar. Both players got link speed, except, okay, so we're going to have the +1 melee from Nerchio. We saw a lot of this in WCS Winter and a lot of the ZvZs going for those fast link upgrades. Had a big impact in a lot of the matches. And Serral will opt for that range upgrade as well as a much faster layer.
Okay, that ling right there just saw the entire world of Nerchio. Very nice scout.
Seeing that there's no lair even started yet for your opponent when yours is about, what, halfway done now? So you're going to have a window where you'll have like that roach upgrade before your opponent, or if you go for something like, wow.
My God.
That was pretty sick, Grab.
Not even both banelings blew up. It was just the one. Pretty good.
Ow.
Things are going well for Serral, as they often do. But, you know, these little ling skirmishes, you can kind of tell neither player is leaning into it too hard so far. So, yes, that was nice, but it's not super, super relevant. That being said, with the +1 getting pretty close to finish, it's looking like it's more of a... This is the kind of weird thing. It's like a defensive +1 melee. Like, oh my God, these baneling hits. That's...
Some of the usage that we saw out of it was also just like supplementing with big roach attacks, right? Being able to flood the lings behind or cleaning up reinforcements, because those +1 Zerglings do chew through the roaches a lot better. I mean, of course, the roaches still get 2 shots to kill those Zerglings with the +1, but it looks like you have a little bit of connection.
That would be a bad disconnect. A lot of times it's like a observer or commentator, and it's like, that's fine. But with him, that's Nerchio. We need him in this game.
We do need Nerchio in order to play this match. So,
kind of funny thing, when Banelings blow up, I just now noticed they don't show up on the units lost tab.
No, it's only if the Baneling attacks to do it, then yeah. But if you like focus fire down a Baneling, it can still kill all your units, and then it counts as lost.
Oh my god.
It's kind of weird.
It is weird.
Back in the day, Jeff, since we do have a little bit of time to kill, something similar, it used to be a thing where Banelings would show up when they attacked and detonated. And there was, that would happen with High Templar when you merge them into Archons. It would count as resources lost for the 2 Templar. And the Battlecruiser, when they added the tactical jump, in the engine, the Battlecruiser actually disappears and it makes a new one where the teleport target is. And that caused it to register as the loss of a BC in resources lost, up like for like, you know, until they patched it basically. But you look at a game of a Terran, and if you teleport your whole army, you might not lose anything, but it's like you just lost 20,000 resources according to the game. Made doing stats a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I did not know any of that actually. Today I learned.
There's a very brief period of time where if you have a Baneling selected, you can see the kill counter on it go up as it dies, killing whatever's around it.
Really?
Yeah, that's why Banelings have kill counters.
Well, everything in the game does.
Well, I mean, they got rid of it from the pylon.
Do larvae
the Nexus
have kill counters?
No. I don't think any unit has a kill counter that can't get a kill, to the best of my knowledge. Maybe I'm crazy.
This is where we're missing Revy real bad.
Did Vipers in Heart of the Swarm have kill counters before they got Parasitic Bomb? When it was just Abduct and Blinding Cloud?
No,
why would it have a kill counter?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
No.
But it could. It could suck a building down.
Yeah, but you killing your own units doesn't count as a kill counter.
Should,
even if you're sucking your
Still
own building down, Jeff.
Still a kill.
I guess.
Think about that building. It was alive and now it's dead because it got sucked dry.
I think my favorite was they had like the mothership core moved like the overcharge from the Nexus to the pylon going into Legacy of the Void, but still for a year the Nexus had the kill counter on it, and it was like some scary days.
Do you prefer the pylon to the Nexus?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the pylon was way more powerful than the Nexus.
It was. I think it was for the start of the game, but I think it was just like a really frustrating factor that you were like, I'm trying to attack, but at least the pylons, the overcharge didn't last as long. So if you could play around it, I don't know. I'm one of those weird people that thinks the shield battery is a lot more fun to play against than people building 3 pylons at the bottom of my ramp and just immediately killing me. So whenever people say
good. That was a good conversation. You can tell by the lack of whining. It's not because people in StarCraft don't typically, like, if they're happy, they're not saying much. It's when they're upset that they start saying a whole bunch. Shield battery's got its funny uses. Like, people didn't like the Haas era where they were kind of proxy shield battery and robo.
But I always try to remind folks, I'm like, well, you know, back in the day, this wasn't 1,000 minerals batteries by a couple pylons. It was 3 pylons, and Mothership Core killed your whole wall. And then you died. It's good times. I think Depths were probably still 2-shotting everything back then as well.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So it's a while back.
Yeah.
We do not have an update. I believe they have the game going again based on what I can see from our admins. We should be jumping into it in just a moment.
Hopefully.
Thank you all for hanging out with us. Good morning, any fellow Americans out there watching StarCraft instead of your Saturday morning cartoons. But hopefully you still got some cereal. And you Europeans, I guess, could be grabbing a burger now. It's about lunchtime, is it?
It is. 4:20.
Yeah, so pretty much there.
This April in 2019.
Yeah.
It is actually 6 minutes away from 4:20.
Well, there you
the
go.
time on the date 4:20. Make a wish.
Make a wish, ladies and gentlemen. Make a wish.
Watch some StarCraft. Or don't. Listen to us by time.
Well, if you're watching
this,
you're kind of watching StarCraft.
You want to queue up a free-for-all?
Sure.
Yeah?
What map you want to play?
I'd love to. Let's do that big one.
Abyss?
Oh, you know what? Let's get back in the game.
We could talk about 1v1.
All right, we're in the game. That's fine.
Yeah.
So Serral's still crushing. The kind of funny thing about big Baneling connections like that, obviously if they're really skirmishing back and forth, and it is going to be that Spire for Nerchio, by the way.
Yeah, it feels like, I was about to say, it feels like neither player wanted to go ham. But the support of those +1 lings, he's going to get a lot of them out while he's going for the Spire.
Holy cow, dude.
It's a lot of Zerglings.
You just jumped right in the middle of my point. You have, like, your RPG commentator stats are like 10, 10, 10, but your awareness of Jeff making a point, 3. I don't even know what I was saying anymore.
Coffee hasn't kicked in, I'm sorry.
Oh my god, you're killing me. Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Not a good co-commentator, Jeff, I'm sorry.
No, you're great. It's just, I was like...
I'm still waking up.
It's okay. Here's what I was trying to say, and it's like, it's not even important anymore. But I just have to say it, I guess, because I pointed it out. They're not really skirmishing back and forth with lings, so the big connections weren't the biggest of deal, but the multiple big baneling connections ends up becoming a bigger deal for what you were talking about. +1 lings can actually beat roaches, but when there's not that many of them, not so well. That's what I want to say.
Well, we saw the most success of it when it was like getting the surround on the reinforcements, especially because once that big ball of roaches is there, even though it's like, yeah, your lings can do more damage because they have +1, the +1 roaches still win handily, like two-shotting the lings, because you just can't surround all of them when they're bunched up like that.
Right.
Quick follow-up into the lurker den for Serral. So he's thinking about his transition already, despite the number of roaches. And
what is he thinking, Mutus?
Yeah, that's what's confusing me.
He's got the hydrogen.
He's starting spores, so 4 spores are on the way, but all the roaches are still just chilling by his bases. I haven't seen, the Mutas haven't come out and hit anything yet, have they?
No.
I think the Overseer might have scouted the Spire.
Yeah.
Flew through the main.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just straight up scout. Here's the interesting thing. I think Mutas are so strong here, but Nerchio's already bailing out of it and going into Hydra and Roach. That either makes Serral a complete genius, or it makes Nerchio, in my opinion, kind of not playing the map. Like, I like Mutas. It's such a big, long map. They get around really quick. Go for the mass Muta with the +1 melee, but he's already switching into just a worse composition off of these 6 Mutas, and I don't like this as much.
Yeah, it feels like one of those gut check type Muta builds, but not really, because they didn't invest enough into it. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to bait you. But in reality, he's just slowing down his own number of roaches, really, because he's not committing to the Mutas. And that +2 attack is so much faster for Serral. If he is able to force a fight reasonably soon, there's some big potential here.
Absolutely. I mean, and also the Mutas, because of their timing, because there's a late layer and stuff, they're only going to get the 1 Overlord or so. That's all they've gotten so far. They're going to show up and try to do some other work, but this is kind of like when you open double Oracle as a Protoss and you get 0 anything done. You're just like, well, they still do stuff.
Well, Mutas can't cast Revelation in control.
Right.
But no, I see what you're saying. But the Mutas are essentially useless. You're not going to do anything through the spores to them. Maybe he'll maybe suicide them in a fight to try and like focus half the hit points off of 1 lurker, maybe. But I think that's 8 lurkers that are finishing up now for Serral. Yeah. He's got a very, very scary army now.
And he confirms with that Overseer that it's going to be Hydra Roach. You can assume it's probably eventually going to be lurkers. We can see that nearing completion here as well for Nerchio. But yeah, the timing's now. Move out.
Yep.
Only need some Hydras to protect this. I don't know why he's...
You've got 5 Hydras against 5 Mutas. I think that's...
Okay, some lings ran by. There we go.
Cheeky little counterattack into the mineral line. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get too much. Just 2 drones.
Bought some time.
Wow, okay. The 5 Mutas pushing the whole entire army all the way back disgruntles me to a slight degree, because the hive timings are a lot closer. Now Nerchio can get out his own lurkers. Okay, well, so adaptive talons for Serral. It's still okay to wait for that upgrade, but he was not going to have this like big fight potential where he could fight with a bunch of lurkers and his opponent having none.
I mean, it's still technically there. It's just, you're right. So much space was won by such a simple run by, and Serral's kind of defaulting into a pretty defensive stance. Like, he's maxed. There's nowhere else to go from here. I'm looking up at that production tab, seeing what else he's going to be adding here. It's just going to be that hive tech stuff. Like, he is adding tunneling claws, some vipers coming out, quicker burrow, all that kind of the good stuff. It's going to get rid of some of these roaches here. But it looks like Nerchio, with that simple run by, has equalized the game, because all that stuff we talked about earlier, like the banelings blowing up, you know, the Muta tech, it's forgiven, Nate. He's fine. Like, who cares?
Yep. He's managed to get himself out of that spot, and we're going to see Nerchio also get a Nidus network.
Love it.
Which, you know, it's interesting, right? We're still seeing usage of it. the tweaks to it definitely made it a lot less punishing, but wow. I was going to say, is that muted what he wants to use for vision for the Nidus?
It's like an amazingly heroic flight or something.
Yeah.
It's like, do it! Go see it! He almost did. This is a rather silly fight out in the middle of the map.
Yeah. So now we got Vipers and Lurkers for Nerchio. +3 attack for Serral. These big Roach Ball kind of being pushed back a bit. Some Roaches and Hydras from Nerchio. Waiting to see if and or when he tries to slide an Overseer around the top side. Maybe go for a big Nidus. I guess even if you Nidus the Lurkers, that's the ideal. He's almost got Adaptive Talons done. Ooh. Serral does have
Lurker battle.
Yeah.
That's a weird fight.
The Overseer sieging up to give that extra vision so the Lurker can keep making those hits. Targeting the opponent's detection, always really nice in this type of situation. Still no big move being made. It looks like that army on the bottom side should be able to cancel that 5th base of Serral, though.
Yeah, I would say in a lot of ways, Nerchio's going toe-to-toe here, excuse me. He's the one canceling the 5th base. He's got the kind of more aptly placed Lurkers sieging below that 4th base, just kind of signifying to Serral, hey, if you move out, this army will pick up, go to your 4th, and trash it. But I do like this move here from Serral, which is kind of funny because it's constantly revealing itself to those Overseers right there. They're just still safely parked. And when they get that extra spines, it's graphical. It tells you that, hey, they can move beneath the earth now.
Yep, and the Sharks are going to come out of the water in the southwest position, but the army is there, ready to smack this back. I was going to say, maybe try to unburrow the Roaches and YOLO snipe that Lurker.
I think he just told him to, like, run. Probably not paying too much attention to it.
Overseer's like, no, just move an inch. No, we're good.
And now Serral's going to just, again, sit in this defensive stance. Both players pretty much maxed out.
Is this unusual? This is unusual for Serral, right? He's playing.
Yeah, you think a lot of his aggression, right? When his ZvZs, you think about him attacking a whole bunch.
You wonder if did Raynor break him?
Well, now I do. No, I'm just kidding. It's just such a dangerous
Just trying
fight.
to sell my tabloids here, Jeff.
Viper's kind of flying around. Obviously, the Abduct is a powerful ability, but so is the Blinding Cloud that can shut down a lot of the stuff underneath it. So they're at that stage where one fight can really heavily swing and snowball in a direction. Lurkers are that snowball unit in ZvZ. A lot of times you think about the reinforcements and how they have these huge banks, so it's not as big of a deal. But if you take a really bad fight and one guy just has 10 Lurkers and you lose everything, you actually can just lose the game from there. Because no matter how many Hydras and Roaches you get out, you're dead. Nice movement here, and this is what I'm saying. Nerchio's winning the positioning war right now. This army will get traded out, but by picking up the... Well, actually, I was about to celebrate it. It's actually kind of... I'm going to go ahead and say it wasn't that great. It looked good. Their banks are so high that even picking off 6 drones and like disrupting mining right now doesn't really matter.
Now, I feel like you opened more supply for real units, right?
Kind of, yeah, you're right.
With this much resources.
Oh my god, the Vipers. Yeah, you gotta be careful there, buds.
Abduct the opponent's Vipers.
Oh, the Flankerino!
Wow, nice bait. He's got some room to run away on the south side if he wants to. You don't have to push into the Lurkers.
God,
unless he brings the rest from the east side and just gets a big surround. Okay, that'll do too.
Well done. He was kind of pinned between these two armies, but then his army came over and it's like, no, you're the one that's pinned. And that's it. Nerchio's got his tail tucked between his legs and he's kind of falling back here.
He just pulls in the Vipers. Oh, nice little trade there. Blinding Cloud to try and push the army away. 30 Hydralisks coming out now for Nerchio.
Yeah. These Lurkers making their way down here. Not going to find the position they wanted. And that's the danger. I love this from Serral. It is spotted. The Overseer's like, hey, I see you here. And these run-bys are funny because even after that 30 Hydra, you'd think, well, he's got no money, right? No, 4,000, 1,000. He's still filthy rich.
Yep. Well, okay, all these Roaches go die for not too much. Guess the Overseer's here. Okay, Lurkers are able to siege on the north side. I think he still had a good amount of units on the bottom, but these Hydralisks did push pretty far over.
This is the payoff, by the way. There's just chaos everywhere. Great job by our awesome observer, Awesome Sauce here. Catching up with all this, but Nerchio threatening that lower base. He does clean up the Lurkers there, nearly losing. Ooh, okay. Again, both players just hovering at max supplies. It is Nerchio with the bigger bank, though, worth mentioning. He's got 6,000 minerals and 2,000 gas, which is basically double Nerchio on both categories. So I would say it's Nerchio on that back foot right now.
Yeah. All these little changelings kind of getting in the way, blocking some of the pathing. It's a lot of lurkers for Serral coming over. And the lurkers we talk about being a very end-all, be-all unit for ZvZ. Those Vipers are the best way you're going to have. Blinding Cloud is nice. You can also abduct to pull them out of the ground. It's going to yoink over 4 or 5 of those lurkers. It's a big Hydralisk attack from Serral, pushes down the north side towards this position where, oh my god, well, even blocking a little bit over at the rocks.
Yeah.
This Hydra is not able to make it out.
Whether that was intentional or not, I mean, with Serral, we just assume it was, I guess. It's very nice.
Calculated.
He's, unfortunately, this army is going to get chased back here.
You run it, you going nowhere.
But now that positioning battle that I was talking about being favorable for Nerchio, all of a sudden it's kind of swung back in Serral's favor. You can see the middle of the map pretty empty. Yep. And Nerchio just now kind of pushing out to try and reclaim that. But
it feels like the conversation just kind of revolves around the banks, right? We were talking about the banks being so big, and these players have just, it's basically just been a trade war in terms of like who can be a little bit more efficient with the forces that they're using, because neither player's really been knocked all the way back.
So this movement right here pulls back all of Nerchio's army, which then shows up, does Serral on the top end. But actually at the same time, Serral pulls back his entire lower army to fight 2 Roches.
Nice.
Both players kind of dictating the movement of their opponent.
Feels very unwilling. Wait, did he kill the Nidus network, or is Nerchio just building a second one without? Did he forget that he built one? Is his other one dead? The one? Okay, yeah, he lost it. He lost it. Okay.
Interesting. To your point, though, I don't know what would have killed it.
When he did the Roach Burrow attack, I thought he was close to it, but I didn't see him actually attack it. I thought he just ran straight for the mineral line. Oh, wow. The Vipers are so funny like that.
Yeah, but Serral got the hugely better trade there. They both deducted each other's Vipers, but it was actually only Nerchio that lost like 4.
Yep. And now this hatchery will pay the price.
Yeah. And it's that positioning right there might have just completely tipped the scales in favor of our boy Serral as he sieged one base and destroyed it. There is a Nidus going up in his main.
And there we go. It begins.
What's he in there? Isn't a lot of the army over here? I mean, if lurkers come out, by the way, and just take the top of that ramp.
That's going to be ouch. Oof, owie. Here we go. Nidus is out. Roaches. A few Hydras. Not the most inspiring Nidus from I've ever seen, but...
I like you had the pregnant pause, and you're like,
I'm like, is this going to be the
Roaches and 2 Hydras? And you're like, there's got to be more. There's just not.
Will this finally be the big one? No.
Good move, though. If he gets the lurker down, that's nice. That takes forever to build, man. That's actually not nothing.
That is a huge grab. These Hydras going to trade a few of those probably immediately as they start to come out. The Viper abducts.
He's down 40 supply, but he's like, oh, he built a bunch of lurkers just before he lost it too. That's nice. It's nice. Oh, and then the Vipers just kind of wandered a little bit too far forward.
I think we've got, is that just something as well hitting that top left base?
He has no bank, by the way, too. That's the, like you said earlier, Nate, this is a very good point. It's the game of banks. The iron banks, if you will, and it's Serral that's got still a bank.
Yeah, Nerchio's run out of favor with them. He does find 4 free lurkers on the south side, so that happened. That just happened.
Sure. Why not? But he's really only mining off that southern base. And there's some blue over there. Those are just changelings on the new map, I guess so, right? Always changelings. And that's it. That's all Nerchio has. So everything he loses is basically a finite resource.
Yeah, he's not making bank anymore. Not anymore. These burrow roaches do get caught on the northwest side. Lurker's gonna try to get away. I don't know. Can it?
Looks like it. If you just
escape mission, run for your life. Okay.
Escape mission. That's a problem now. So that base is locked down, even just off a stack defense. It was a good move by Serral, investing into that. Some players are really reluctant to do that. They're like, man, I'll just keep losing that base and having a tough time. So I was like, no. It's not that you can't kill 6 spine crawlers. You need to do it.
He runs on top of this, right, as there's a bunch of lurkers, morphing forces, a bunch of cancellations. Look at this Viper count, by the way. Disgusting.
That's it.
GG, Serral takes game number 1 to kick off WCS Spring Vinta Edition.
Oh, it's not winter though.
Oh yeah, damn.
You just said WCS Spring
My mind's
Winter
broke.
Edition.
I
Yeah. I thought you said Venta.
I
was
did
like, is that
say-
an Italian joke, but no.
For some reason, I was like, oh yeah, I try to do like the W with the German accent, and then I'm like, no, winter is over. The problem is
our
Thrones is on
tradition.
again, so my winter's still on the mind.
To start the day, it's got to be a pretty weird, shaky, janky. We get way better later.
This
promise.
is honestly, this was the reason why I told Fear Dragon you had to cancel on that wedding. I'm like,
Yeah.
you need to come here and do the host role. You're better than me now. You're ready to take the torch, and well, I think he's looking for a rose bouquet instead this weekend in Control.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
Roby catches it.
I can see him jumping up. Oh, that pure heart of his.
He's such a beautiful little man.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is a great ZvZ to start the day off. Nerchio had his moments, by the way, and if you would have gone into this and said Nerchio versus Serral, I would think Nerchio has been one of the Zerg versus Zerg bullies of the European scene for years and years, but that's kind of, that you have to go back 3 or 4 years. We've got your lasers, your Lambos, and as of last year now, your Serral and even Raynor, so it's kind of like he's getting pushed further down, but this was good. He had some moments there, some great. He really could have won this game. I know that sounds crazy. He actually could have, but Serral just is kind of Serral. He just, every time it looked like he was in danger, he just showed up with armies coming in from different directions and crushed what Nerchio was trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like Nerchio did a really good job of kind of pulling Serral into his game, is what I'll say, because this felt a lot more passive than a lot of the ZvZs we typically see in Europe. And taking a look at some of the
Pickoffs here.
Yeah, nice grabs.
Not the best highlight here. It's mostly just rallied stuff. But this, the army positioning, if you can't see it, but the mini map is what was beautiful about this series. Like the army was never, this is us fighting 200. 200.
We never had that. No.
They were always split up. They were fighting for positioning, and they're playing the map. And like Nate said, I thought this was a really good point. Serral pulled Nerchio into his game. So like, he went lurkers first, even though the Spire was open, but then Nerchio felt forced into basically switching back into Lurker, Hydra, Roach as well, because he didn't, have this.
I'm still surprised.
From Mutas, I guess.
I'm still surprised that there was so little early aggression too. Like it felt very reserved from both players until they were like, all right, well now that I have everything, we're gonna do some Ling run buys and some like Hydralisk shoves, some Lurker pushes, but it wasn't. There was never any. You mentioned this when we were talking about the Baneling connections early on. There was no moment where either player said to themselves, "Now I'm just gonna go for it. Like I want to try and make something happen." And not like in an all-in sense even, but like I'm just going to try to shut down the 4th base or shut down the 3rd base. Which usually just ends up with both players having their 3rd a little bit later rather than someone dying. But it looks like the lobby is up and a-going. So we should be jumping into our 2nd map.
You know what? In your defense, too, this is how funny this is. The channel we're in, I won't say the full name, it does say WCS winner.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what, Nate? I don't fully blame you for that.
I mean, if you think about it, we're in the same place. We're in the same chat channel.
It is certainly not winner, though.
We've got the same players. No, you're right. Well, Thrones is still on. I don't know. Everyone keeps saying winter every 5 minutes, so.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm trapped. I'm trapped in a time loop, perhaps. And this guy pretty much is, because his whole life's been StarCraft for like 10 years now, playing in the pro level. In the bottom right, the red Zerg, he is Nerchio. We had a fun stat at our WCS events last year that got popped up a lot on the circuit, was like the number of professional games played. And I think him and Bly was above him, but I think even Nerchio was like 5,000 or 6,000 plus like competitive games played, which is sick. In the top left, leading the series 1-0, the blue Zerg, he's Serral.
I like his little decal there. That's really cool. It's definitely like Ghost and Terran related, but it still looks cool.
Yeah.
It's like a skull and a rifle cross.
We don't see enough use of that. Jeff, how does it feel? Have you had anybody spray your face at your base yet on you yet?
Nope.
Damn. Sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Yeah. I feel like there's nothing wrong with plugging this. There's a StarCraft hookup with Twitch this month. All you guys watching on Twitch. If you have the Prime set up, there's a StarCraft activation. I think you get this month the Swan co-op commander and his voice pack. But more importantly, you can get a bunch of Twitch emotes in StarCraft 2 as well as sprays, which includes the Thing in Control's face, So for all you guys out there that stream snipe him, just make sure to spray that the thing emote right next to his
if they're
Nexus.
a streamer, I'll tier 2 sub to them if they do it. So they're on the Pylon Show, man. Give back to the people.
To you.
So Nerchio once again, 3 hatch before pool. The difference being that it's actually Serral that's mixing it up a little bit here more.
Do you think Serral like looks at how that last game went and thinks to himself, like, I should be able to just do some sort of gut punch type strategy and just kill him?
I don't know.
I want to see the killer instinct, you know?
Yeah.
I want to see Serral get angry, get mean.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of funny thing about it, though. Like, look at this. The speed difference is in seconds. It's just not that much. They're going to have very similar compositions. So, like we kind of talked about last game, although it's a very different opening from Nerchio, it did not actually yield him much better results. This is a little bit more conservative opening from Serral because the map is a lot smaller. So I think it's Serral that's more thinking, well, if Nerchio wants to go all-out aggression, I don't want to just lose this for free.
That's fair.
So it's him that has the slightly more safe build, and it's Nerchio still taking risks, which is kind of cool to see. If you're playing Serral, why would you just play super straight up? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Prior to this past WCS winter, Serral was, and I guess a lot of people will still argue, top dog in WCS system. And if you weren't going to argue that, you'd argue for a guy like Rainer, who isn't in this group. So we expect to see, I mean, I agree with you. I expect to see everybody in this group that goes against Serral try to bring something a little different to the table. Because it's like, why would you try to just play a standard game against the best player, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
You're not wrong, Nate. So we do have some Banelings coming out and some more Lings coming out from Serral as well. But he is going to mix in drones. So this is not some kind of mega leveraged attack. But with the Banelings getting found here at the third.
He could maybe cancel these, would be really big. But the Bane's just running over towards the natural, distracted at that base. And Serral pulls up 12 drones. Good time. And
this is just over. The 12 drones and you also win the Ling fight? I don't think so. Queen will die here. Drones at the third could be in danger, but Serral's going to pull back. And Nerchio's got that hard math. So you see him making drones right now, and you're like, well, what if just more Lings show up? Yeah, I mean, what if? But he can't risk it. You can't just, like, lose 12 drones and then just be stuck there forever. So he's trying to buy some time, but here's that killer instinct that Nate was talking about. 8 more Lings along the way. And after this little counterattack is cleaned up, I think Serral's going to lean in on this advantage.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the best way to deal with this is. He has to just hope for a really good Baneling hit. Losing all of those drones, even at the end of the day, if he holds this, he still has trying to squeeze out a few more. And he is. So Nerchio's kind of, he's got a good enough game sense to see that he cannot just sit here and swarm out units, no pun intended. Needs these Banelings to get in here and do something as Serral. But gets 1 Baneling detonation on the 2. So he's not able to trade out. And all 3 Banelings so far still alive. Really good control from Nerchio there. If he... Okay, might lose it. Wow. Okay, well, I say that, and there you go. Banelings are gone. GG.
I can hardly blame Nerchio.
That's really
game got away from 4 drones. So 4 Banelings head to that mineral line, but Serral is not only microing at the third for the good fight there as well, and connecting with the Baneling. He splits up the Banelings 2 and 2, because if he just hits one spot, it's 4 Banelings for 4 drones, which is not the end of the world, but it ends up being 4 Banelings for 12 drones.
That's huge. Really, really nice play there from Serral, and seeing a little bit of the adjustment there. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah. Just
some sort of early aggression, because the Baneling nest felt late last game too, but
here it is.
Here's that highlight. If you play ZvZ, this is your worst nightmare. Goodbye, mineral line. You don't want to have to spend all your larvae on Lings, but a Baneling just killed all of them, so you do. And just extremely, extremely well done. Serral picks up the first series without too much difficulty, it looks like. And
in game 2, certainly. Game 1 was a great one. That was a good, long, back-and-forth Hive Tech ZvZ. We saw Spire Tech invested into. Didn't get any results, but Nerchio was able to balance the game out. And unfortunately, it's just you get to see Serral shine. That's kind of why I think a lot of Zergs probably play aggressive against Serral, because Serral's late game ZvZ.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. I mean, we knew that was a big deal at Katowice with Sue. He would not let it get to Hive Tech for the most part, and that's part of why he won. You can see what happens when he gets to Hive Tech.
Yes, that's our first match here for WCS Spring Europe Edition, as we do have our next series coming up. It's going to be a PVZ, a laser versus Harsum. The winner of that will play against Serral. The loser will play against Nerchio. That's coming up next. You're watching the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Spring. And
nailed it.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited, Jeff. It's good to be back. It's good to be back here. I get my fill on all of y'all, but I think we're gonna just show that plate. There we go. So when we return from the break, we'll be coming back with that match. It's going to be a nice PvZ here for your WCS weekend festivities.